Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and this time it's the turn of Disney that is retiring this year with a comparison from what's already retired to try and give you an idea of whether it's worth investing in those sets or not. Obviously, if there's something that's very identical, same name, that kind of thing, then and it's not doing very well, then it's a good chance it's not going to do very well again. But if there's something that's very similar and it's doing okay, then it might give you an idea that the set that's retiring this year would be a good investment to invest in. So I'm just trying to give you more information so that you're more sort of educated into whether you should invest in that set or not. Okay, so right, with Disney, like I said before in my other videos, it's not all of the sets because there isn't comparisons for everything, so it's only some of the sets. So the first one is 43246, the Disney Princess Market Adventure, $89.99. The comparison for that one is 41162, the Disney Princess Royal Celebration. That retired in 2019. It was £40 to buy, and it's now valued at around £51, which is an increase of around 28%. The value mostly is, the dolls are worth about £35, so the sets, most of the value is in the dolls, which is unusual really for the Disney. Yeah, if you go on Amazon, there's somebody selling this for up to £147. God knows whether they'll get it, but you never know. Anyway, that set sold 432 sets. Next one is 43222, the Disney Castle, $344.99. Obviously, there's only one comparison, which is 71040, the Disney Cinderella Castle. Now, that retired in 2022. It was £290 when it was retail, and it's now worth around £356, which is an increase of around 23%. If you go on Amazon, there is people selling it for up to £668. And that set sold 22,943 sets. Next one is 43230, the Walt Disney Tribute Camera, $89.99. The comparison to that one is 43227, the Disney Villain Icons. That retired in 2024. That was £125 to buy, but at the moment it's only worth around £90, which is a loss of around 28%. If you go on Amazon, there are people selling it for up to £207, and that set sold 7,126 sets. Next one is 43237, that's Isabella's Flower Pot, $39.99. The comparison to that one is 43201, the Isabella's Magic Door, or Magical Door. That retired in 2022. That was £18 to buy. Now it's worth about £19, so it's gone up by roughly 6%. If you go on Amazon, there are people selling it for up to £69, and that sold 1,054 sets. Next one is 43242, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Cottage, $189.99. That's got two comparisons. One of them is a Duplo set, but it's a 6152. That retired in 2013. It was £13 to buy, but now it's worth around £33, which is an increase of roughly 151%. There isn't any being sold on Amazon or Camel 3X at the moment, so I can't tell you what it's being sold for. But it sold 160 sets. And the next comparison is 10229. I've again forgotten to write down the name, so that retired in 2013. That was £90 to buy, but at the moment it's worth around £332, which is an increase of roughly 268%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £771, and that one sold 4,266 sets. My wife will put on the screen what it was, the name. Next one is 43244, Elsa's Ice Palace, $89.99. The comparison to that one is 41148, Elsa's Magical Ice Palace. That retired in 2018. That was £65 to buy. Now it's worth around £79, which is an increase of roughly 21%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £227, and that's sold 861 sets. Next one is 43245, the Madrigal House, £139.99. The comparison for that one is 43202, the Madrigal House. That retired in 2024. It was £45 to buy. At the moment it's worth around £35. So obviously that's a loss of, well, roughly 21%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £90, and that sold 4,214 sets. Next one is 43251, Antonio's Animal Sanctuary. That was £34.99. The comparison for that one is 42617, Farm Animal Sanctuary. That retired in 2024. That was £50 to buy. It's only worth about 44 at the moment, which is obviously a loss of around 12%. There is people selling it on Amazon for up to £63, and that sold 320 sets. And the last one for Disney is 43254, Ariel's Crystal Cavern, £24.99. The comparison for that one is 41076, the Crystal Hollow. That retired in 2015. That was £13 to buy. It's now worth £25, which is roughly an increase of 91%. If you go on Amazon, it's being sold for £49, and that's sold 991 sets. Now the next theme is Jurassic World. To see how many of these I can't pronounce. The first one is 76962, the Baby Bumpy Ankylosaurus. That was £19.99. The comparison for that one is 76940, the Fossil Exhibition. That retired in 2022. It was £28 to buy. It's now worth around 31, which is an increase of roughly 12%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £82, and that set sold 6,362 sets. Next one is 76963, Baby Dinosaur Rescue Center, £34.99. The comparison to that one is 75920, the Raptor Escape. That retired in 2015. That was £40 to buy. It's now worth around £137. That's an increase of roughly 243%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £470 for a £40 set. £470. That sold 1,402 sets. Next one is 76964, the Dinosaur Fossil T-Rex Skull, £34.99. The comparison to that one is 21320, the Dinosaur Fossils. That retired in 2022. That was £55 to buy. It's now worth around £71, which is an increase of roughly 29%. If you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for £286, and that set sold 20,821 sets. Next one is 76965, the Dinosaur Missions Stegosaurus Discovery, £59.99. The comparison to that one is 75929, the Carnotaurus Gyrosphere Escape. That retired in 2020. That was £60 to buy. It's now worth around £82, which is an increase of roughly 37%. But if you go on Amazon, there's people selling it for up to £226, and that set sold 2,580 sets. And the last one is 76966, the Dinosaur Missions Allosaurus Transport Truck, $79.99. The comparison to that one is 75933, the T-Rex Transport. That retired in 2020. That was £60 to buy. It's now worth around £87. That's an increase of roughly 45%. If you go on Amazon, they're selling for up to £312, and that sold 2,194 sets. Like I said to you before, I'm giving you like a value here. So like over that one there, it was £60 to buy. It's now valued at around £87. You should be able to get more than that. It's just a case of that's like a fair value for it. I mean, obviously people are selling it for, or trying to sell it on Amazon for £312. but like I say, not an average sale, but like on the lower end, like a conservative value, you should be able to get more than that. But that's like me giving you just a low figure so that then you can get more. Okay, so that concludes this video. Next video will be city, comparing again the past and now. So please join me in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.